Welcome to Work World Writing. I'm surprised over the years at the number of teachers I talk to that don't write in front of their students or with their students at all. So if you're a teacher, you need to be writing with your students.
I felt a great disturbance in the force, as if millions of voices suddenly cried out in terror and were suddenly silenced.
All right, so here's how it's done. First of all, you're going to have some writing tips that you've given to your students already. Some examples are titles and leads that slap, good word choice perhaps. Organize your writing somehow. These are all just tips that I've given to my students in the past. I also should note that I make these tips available to them at all times. So for me, I put them on a website, online somewhere. You can have a poster or wherever, but students need to be able to have access to them pretty easily. At any point during the course, after you've given them some tips, you're going to produce a piece of writing and show them how you've taken those tips and applied it to your piece of writing. So here's a piece of writing I've done, and I give this piece of writing to my students. I go through it with them to show them how I've accomplished those pieces of writing advice that I had given them. So I'm just going to blow this up a little bit so you can see. So one of my writing tips is to have good leads that are, they slap you in the face. And so I have a Black Death as my lead, and my introduction is kind of shocking. And I'm encouraging my students to do the same thing with their introductions. Another one is my paragraphs. They all have a specific theme. It's not so much how many sentences are in the paragraph, but that each paragraph has a specific theme, and I try and summarize that paragraph into one word, and I would encourage my students to do the same thing. And so then if I see that one of my paragraphs is about venom, for example, I'm probably not going to talk about venom in the other paragraphs. Each paragraph has its own theme. Over here on the right-hand side of the document, I have counted the number of sentences in my paragraph, but that's not because the number matters. It's just to show the students that I am aware of how long my paragraphs are. In fact, at the bottom, all I say is that paragraph lengths are not intimidating. And so it just shows that I'm aware of how long my paragraphs are. Another writing tip I get my students to do is color their writing, and sometimes I get them to underline or show me where they've used good words. So I'll do the same with my writing. Coloring writing is one of my best strategies that I give to students. It's so powerful, and I have other videos talking about why you might color your writing, but it has to do with sentence parts. So my encouragement here is just that as a teacher, you need to write in front of your students, maybe even with your students. Get their ideas, let them watch you write. Let them see how you make mistakes and change your mind and form paragraphs and move things and scratch stuff out. It's a very powerful teaching tool, but eventually I would say you need to give students examples of the kind of writing you want them to produce. And so you will give them those tips and then a piece of writing that's directly connected with those tips that you've given them so that they can do the same with their writing. Thanks for listening.